Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss the 12th question in my web development practical video series. This is also going to be the second question of the second day of the question list. Let's go to the question list now, and you can see under day 2 here's the question 2. Let me read the question first, and let's review my answer. I already created the answer, and I will explain what I done in my web page. The government of Sri Lanka has decided to vaccinate all citizens due to the COVID-19 situation. These vaccines are given under different age groups, and these are specific vaccines for each age group. Okay, here are the vaccine names and what are the age group which suits to vaccinate with using that vaccine. And here's the first one with 18 to 13 range. It's suitable to vaccinate people using the vaccine called Moderna. And here's age 30 to 45 range, Sinopharm, and 45 to 60 AstraZeneca, and under 60 over 60 it's Novax. And let's read the other part of the question. In order to conduct this program as a full stack developer, you have to create a small web application to gather details about the citizens. Okay, we have to collect the following data. Here are the data we have to collect and store in a database. First name, last name, gender, NIC number, age, and address. Okay, those are the data we have to register in our application. And here are the other parts of the question. When you add data to the database, the citizen's vaccine name should be automatically added to the database. Okay, that's another functionality we have to add to our system. Note, you need to be able to see what data is entered into the database real time. Okay, now it's not enough that we enter the details and add the functionality to automatically detect what is the suitable vaccine for that specific person. We have to show the details of the vaccinated people, the registered people. In this case, you can see there's a sample image we can refer. Here is the form to register a citizen, and here is a table which showing the registered people in this application. Okay, those are the things we have to do in this question. Now I'm going to show you my answer, and let's review my codes. Okay, here is the answer. This is a web page. This is the web page I created for that part. You can see vaccination program Sri Lanka. That's the heading, and here you can see there are input fields. These are the input fields we have to fill in order to register a user in this system. Only the first name, last name, gender, age, NIC, and contact number are needed. Okay, in this part you can see there's a table. This is the table which showing the registered user and their details. Okay, now I like to show you my database first, and then let's the website. Now let's go to our HDSQL browser to view my database. Here's the HDSQL browser, and here's my database. You can see there are 3 tables inside this database called gender, user, and vaccine. Let me show you one by one. In the gender, there are 2 attributes, ID and name. Here are them. I use this table to store the genders of the people, and in the user, this is the main table or main relation which will store the details, mainly the first name, last name, and then age, NIC, and contact number. And also you can see there's a attribute called gender ID, and in this table you can see the names of the gender is not stored in this table, only the ID of the gender is stored. That's because these two tables are connected with each other using a foreign key. You can see the gender ID in the gender field is foreign to this user table, and here's the gender ID is the foreign key. And here you can see there's another foreign key called vaccine ID. That's the attribute which have the records of the vaccine, in this case the vaccine name and the age period. You can see here's the vaccine table. This table is also connected to the user. This is the foreign attribute. The ID in the vaccine table is foreign to the student table, and within these attributes in the vaccine table you can see there's the vaccine name. You can see Moderna, Sinopharm, like that, AstraZeneca, like that. And here are the age group, mean age and max age. You can change these two ranges or tweak them between tweak the ranges when you want to update this system. Okay, now those are the three tables I created. Now I like to show you my code, but before that let's register any person in my system. You can see we have to give the first name and the last name, and like those details we have to give these details, but I validated all these input fields in my server side, in one of my server side files. And let's see what are the validations. I'm going to click on the submit button without filling any data in this form. Okay, here I am pressing on the submit button. You can see there's an error code. Please enter your first name. Okay, you can see we have to enter our details first in order to register these people. We cannot register a person with missing details. So I'm going to enter a new name. Okay, here's the first name, and I'm going to press the submit button, and then again another error code showed. Enter last name. Okay, we have to enter the last name. Okay, this is the last name. Now you can see NIC needed. There's another error code because I didn't submit the NIC. I'm going to change this to gender to female and change the age to 27 or like that. You can see there are age ranges in this select field. I select age 27, and here's the NIC number. Let me show you what happened when I enter a false NIC number. You can see invalid NIC number. This is not a valid NIC number. We have to insert a valid one. So okay, here I entered a valid NIC number. Let's submit this one. You can see contact number needed. Every field is needed in order to register this person, and I'm going to insert this one too. Okay, here's the number, and I'm going to press on the submit button, and let's see what happened to our table. Okay, now let's refresh this one. You can see a new row added to our table. Here you can see Nayana Kalyani, and this is the person we added to this system. And you can see when some person registered to this system successfully, it will show it will reset all the fields we used to enter the details. It will reset the details we entered, and we can enter another new person that way. So that's another function in my website. Now I'm going to show you my codes. Here's the index page. This is the main page. You can see the page here. These are the input fields. You can see the first name, here's the input field, and the last name, and here's the input field. Like that, all the fields are in this page, and this is the table area of this page. Now I like to show you, I like to highlight you, all the input fields are marked with IDs. There are unique IDs, first name to L name, and here last name, here's the ID LN. Like that, all the fields are marked with IDs. Now let's go to our JavaScript file. Now we have to grab those details and send them to a server-side file. Actually, in this case, we are using a PHP file, another PHP file, in order to process these details and insert them if those details are correct to the database. Okay. Before that, I'm going to explain what's going on in the JavaScript file. In the JavaScript file, you can see on the in the top of this file, here are a set of new variables, the JavaScript variables, and I assigned the element, the HTML element, which have the ID. I show you what are the elements I insert new unique IDs. I inserted new IDs to all the input fields, and here you can see I grab them. I grab the element and assign that element to a different variable, and that's the part I done started from line 1 to line 6. And here in the line 8 you can see there's a function called get details. This is the function I used to execute when someone press on the submit button. Let me show you that one too. Here in the submit button, this is the submit button, you can see the value is submit. Here I define an on-click function, and in that function you can see there are two JavaScript functions executed when someone click on this file, the get details function and the find details function. And let's go to our JavaScript file again, and in the get details function you can see I created another new set of variables called fname, lname, gender, like that, and I inserted the values. The fn field means the element. We assign the element in the top of this file. We assign the element, the input element, into new variables, and I call the variable name, and the dot value means only the value of this element will be extracted and assigned into the variable called first name. Like that, all the variables will be assigned with the values of the elements, the input elements. And here you can see there I created a form content. It's better you create a form content when you are submitting or sending a lot of data into server side, because we can append all these details or all those data into one form object, and we can send that object to the server side. So that will be easy. That's why I use the form object. This is the form object. You can see I created a variable called var and insert the form object, assign the form object to that form variable, and I append all the fields, all the values inside the fields in my website into this object. And then here you can see there's another new object, that's the Ajax object. I explain what is the difference between the native data submitting method and the Ajax what is the Ajax technology, and what we use those two methods. But I'm not going to specify all the details. You can watch my previous video. I explained a lot about this Ajax technology in that video. So here I created a Ajax object, and then this is the method I am transferring this data. I'm transferring this data to the server side using the post method, and then after that, here's the destination that I want to transfer this data. You can see I want to transfer this data to the file called process.php file. Let me show you that file. In that file, you can see there are no any visible data in this file. There's no design in this file. Only a process. You can see there are if else blocks like that. Only a process will be executed within this file, and this file cannot be accessed, or this file cannot be executed in the client side. Only the server side will be executed this file. Okay, let's go back to our JavaScript file, and here's the send method. After this command executed, the request to the server side will be sent. You can see in that send method I submitted the form object that will send that object to the server side. Okay, that's how this get details function works. This function grab the details from the input fields and send them to the server side. Okay. After that part, I'll explain this code line starting from code 28, line 28 to 32. I'll explain them later, but before I like to explain the process.php file. After the data reach to this destination, the process.php file, here you can see I created a global variable in this file called dbmsc, and I assign the connection to my database management system using an object-oriented method. And you can see there's a if condition, and in that condition, these are the conditions: is set post key, and post key equal 1. That means if there's a value which will come to this which will come to this process.php file in post method, if there's a name called key, and also the key is equal to the value of the name key is equal to 1, it will execute this part of the code. and if one of those conditions are not true, it will execute, it will check whether these conditions are true in the if else block. You can see is set get key and get key equal to. That means it will check whether a value called key will come in get method, and the value of that name key is equal to 2. And if those conditions are met, it will execute this part of the code. But none of them are true, it will do nothing. None of these codes will be executed if there's a value which will come in post or get method called key, or it's equal to 1 or 2. Okay, in the first part of the if block, you can see I grab all the values which will which I send to the server side using the post method, and insert and assign them into separate PHP variables. And after that, here you can see this is a if else ladder. This works as like a if else ladder. Usually we call that name, and this is the validation part I done in my web page. Here you can see empty fn means empty first name. That means if the first name is empty, it will show this error code. You see that part when I'm registering a user. First please enter first name. That is the error code which will show if the first name is empty. And you can see only that code will be executed, and other codes will be not executed. This is the output of this whole web page if the first name is empty. And like that, all the lines are all the input fields are validated. You can see after that none of these conditions are not true. That means the first name field is not empty and last name field is not empty. Like that, none of these conditions are true. These all of these are error codes. It will show if the data is not correct, and if somehow this else block is executed, that means all the details inserted by the user is correct, and only this else part will be executed if the details are correct. Okay, in that else condition, you can else block, you can see there's another else if ladder. First one is it will check the age range. You can see the age variable, the value inside the age variable less than 18 or more than 18 or less than 18 or less than 30. It will execute this part. There's another new variable called VID, and it's equal to 1. VID means the vaccine ID. You can see in this part I find the suitable vaccine which using the age. This is and it I assign a new variable called I created a new variable called VID and assign the ID of the suitable vaccine to that variable. Okay, here's that part. And after that, you can see there's another query. This is the actual insert query to our database. You can see insert into, these are the attributes we are going to insert data, and after that here are the values. I insert all the variables which contains the value come from the client side. and you can see at the last part I insert the VID. VID means the vaccine ID, and after that you can see I use the database connection. DBMSE means the database connection I created on the top of this file, and I use that variable and then executed the query. After that, if the query is executed successfully, it will output a value which is number 1. Okay, that's the first if else condition. Now let's go to our JavaScript file. You can see there will be an output after we requested the server side process.php file, and that output will be sent to our client side computer or to our client as the response. Okay, after the response, this is the part we are grabbing that response text and show our alert. You saw when I insert this data, if there's an error, it will show an alert, and if the user inserted successfully or registered successfully, it will show an alert too. And you can see this is the part I used to do that function or do that part. Here you can see onReady state change. R.onReady state change means when our Ajax object go to the server side or request to the server side file, the process.php file, its state will be changed. Overall, actually approximately there are 4 states to the object, to the Ajax object. The first one is leaving the client side to the server side and reaching the server side, like that. The state 4 means the response which contains the output in the process.php file will file is reach the client side. That means the output of the output of the client side file is come to the client. And after that I check if the response is here using the r.ready state equal for condition, and if that condition is true, it will create a new variable called text and assign the response text. Response text means the output of the process.php file, which will come as a text, will be assigned to this text variable. And after that you can see there's the alert, and in that alert it will show the text. Okay, that's the whole process of the get details function. You can see if the details are correct, it will insert those details into the database and output a value number 1. Okay, and you can see there's another variable called table. This is the table I showed you in the index page. You can see these are the attributes inside the table: first name, last name, like that. And let me go to the JavaScript file, and you can see I insert or I assign that element, the table element, into the into a new variable called table. And after that you can see there's another condition. This is this condition is find details. First one is get details, and here is the find details function. In this find detail functions, an empty request will be sent to the process.php file. Actually, it's not empty. It will send a value which have this is the name key and the value is 2. It will send to that process.php file you combine to the URL. Actually, this should be changed to get, not in the not the post. That's why when I insert a user, the table didn't updated real time. We had to reload the page. That's because the function didn't work correctly. After I change this one, I will insert another user and see whether the table will update it real time or not. Okay, I changed the method to get because we are sending this key using the get method combined to the URL. Okay, here's that ajax request, and after the process is completed, the response text will be stored in a new variable called text, and you can see there's another command, table.innerHTML equal text. That means within the starting tag and the closing tag of the table element, this text, the value inside this text variable will be inserted or inputted between those two tags, the starting table tag and the closing table tag. Let's go to our process.php file. You can see this is the starting table tag and this is the this is the closing table tag, and the output of the process.php file will be inserted within these two tags. Okay, that's the purpose of this command, and let's see how that works. But before that, I like to show you the process.php file. You can see we are requesting this process.php file using the get method, so it will not execute this code lines inside this function, this if block, because it's checking whether the key is coming in the post method and it's equal to 1, but it's not true in this part. And in the second part, you can see we are sending the key in the get method by the get method, and the key value, the value of the key is equal to 2. Let me show you. You can see the get method and the value is number 2, and that means it will execute this part of the code. You can see in the first code there's a select query. It will select these attributes from our table, and then you can see SR means the result set. After I executed, every time you executed a select query, there will be an output, there will be a result set as the output. So I stored that output in a new variable called SR, and then here's another variable called NOR, that means number of rows, and in that number of rows I calculated, you can see the result set. The result set will be outputted in a table format, that means as a table. So this table contains records, or we can say rows. We can count those rows using this function numRows. So I count the rows in the result set and insert that count into the number of rows variable, in this case NOR variable. Okay, after that you can see I close the script, PHP script, and here's a regular HTML table row tag. This is the heading of the table. You can see I added a table row, and after that you can see that I started the PHP script again, and here is another 4 block. Actually for loop. In this loop, you can see I created a variable, new variable, and it has its value is equal to 2. Sorry, it's equal to 0. And if the value of C is less than number of rows in the result set, it will increment every time this for loop executed. That means that this for loop will be executed this for loop will be executed same number of times to the number of rows in the result set. Okay, you can see after that when the for loop is executing, there's the here's the first command. I created a variable called sData, and here you can see here's another function called fetch assoc, and I use that fetch assoc to the result set. That means I told you the result set is in table format, but if we use the fetch assoc method, it will rip the first record out from that result set and inserted the details in the attributes in that result set into an associative array, and I assign that array into a new variable called sData. Now you can see, you can imagine after every time this loop executed, record the first record of the result set will be ripped out and extract the details into a associative array and inserted to this variable, and after it will grab the rest of the result set and rip the first record of that result set and again assign to a variable, assign to associative array and assign that to the sData. Like that, that's how the for loop works. And in that for loop you can see there's another table row, and in that table row these are the table data, and you can see I inputted all the details in that associative array into separate table attributes. These are attributes, actually these are attributes, this table data. You can see first name, last name, this is gender and age, NIC, contact number and vaccine name, and you can see this is a record in our table, and it will generate a set of records according to the data inside our database. Okay, that's how that part of the PHP file works when we executed the JavaScript function get details, and after that that set of table rows will be inputted into this table. Actually it will replace this tr tag and replace that new table rows into this space. Okay, that's how that works, and let's go to our answer. Let's refresh this one. Okay, I refresh this one, and let's insert let's insert another user. Okay, here's the first name. Okay, here are the details, and I'm going to submit these details, and after that you can see the the table updated. Here are the new details of the new user, Sanjana Karyavasam. Like that, this table will be updated. Okay, and that's how my answer works, and I think that's it for this video. We answered to all the questions in the question 2 of day 2, and I think that's it for this video, and thank you very much for watching.